Now on CoastTV News.
10-year coastal bay plan, what Maryland is doing to protect their bays. Water worries in Rehoboth Beach, why officials say you should conserve water in the city.
Well, after our cool temperatures yesterday, we flipped the switch back to summer. We're back in the 90s, feeling like over 100. I'm tracking a few storm chances through the evening and more in the days ahead. My full forecast in minutes.
This is CoastTV News at 6.
Good evening, I'm Brandon Ferguson. Welcome to CoastTV News at 6. Lawmakers came together in Ocean City for another 10 years of improving the coastal bays. On Tuesday, officials across the state of Maryland signed a 10-year plan that focuses on the health and long-term sustainability of the coastal bays. Kevin Smith, the executive director of the Maryland Coastal Bays program, says improvements have been made, but problems are still hitting the coast.
Recently, one of the challenges that we've had are island loss and marsh loss. We've lost a lot of tidal marsh due to sea level rise and other factors.
According to the Maryland Coastal Bay program, the four main things they will be focusing on are to provide healthy waters, protect wildlife, create resilient ecosystems, and to get public engagement. In Rehoboth Beach, officials are asking people who live in city limits to conserve water in preparation for the 4th of July holiday. City leaders say they saw a drop in water levels around this same time last year and hope that this plan will prevent a repeat of this year. Officials suggest things like checking your pipes or turning off the faucet while brushing your teeth, and they're also asking neighbors to water their plants on alternate days.
We're looking to combat that this year by asking residents to irrigate on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays for even-numbered addresses. And for our odd-number addresses, we're asking that you irrigate on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, please.
Officials also ask that neighbors not water or irrigate on any days when it may rain next week in Rehoboth Beach. And on that note, we're going to take a live look outside into Milford and bring in our first alert meteorologist, Chris Mastrobono. And Chris, after a break yesterday, we're back in the 90s today.
That's right. We've seen quite a shift over the last 24 hours. It's about nearly 20 degrees warmer in Georgetown than this time yesterday. Yes, summer is back on Delmarva. 83 currently in Milford, just a few cumulus clouds there. Dew point 76, so very humid out there. And you can see we have a sea breeze kicking in. Temperatures are around 76 in Rehoboth, 76 Bethany Beach, but away from the coast, we're at 85 in Milton, 91 in Seaford, 89 in Laurel. Feels like 104 in Seaford, so we've seen some heat indices away from the coast, around 100. Now, we are keeping our eye to the skies here over the next few hours. You can see that marginal risk for a portion of the peninsula. The core of this severe threat is taking place west of I-95. You can see some scattered showers and storms, but the general thinking is these storms are going to weaken as they push eastward. You can see the cold front, that's going to sag southward overnight. So an isolated thunderstorm here over the next few hours, and then maybe a stray thunderstorm overnight. Otherwise, another mild and muggy night with temperatures falling into the lower 70s. We'll do it all again tomorrow with an isolated storm threat, and then a better chance of storms rolls in Monday through Tuesday. We'll talk about that in the 7-day forecast in a little bit.
Thank you, Chris. A new police accountability committee has been formed in Rehoboth Beach and Lewis. Police Chief Keith Banks and Thomas Spell say the group will meet quarterly to advise on police training and community issues. They say the new committee will help strengthen community ties and boost transparency. The public is welcome to attend these meetings. Milford is laying out plans for growth as city officials acknowledge mounting concerns about overdevelopment. The city's economic development administrator released some information yesterday looking to ease those concerns. According to the administrator, just 1% of the city's total land area has been annexed in the last decade, and it could take up to 36 years to build out all approved housing and open land. More than 3,400 homes have already been approved, but the city says developers must help pay for roads, utilities, and school impacts. And with student enrollment already up by 300 in the last decade, a new middle school is opening this fall to help meet demand. Also yesterday, Delaware Senate lawmakers have passed a bill tightening residency rules for school board members across the state. House Bill 82 requires that school board members both claim legal residence and physically live in the district they represent. Under the bill, if a board member is absent from their district more than 25% of the year, they could lose their seat. The legislation now heads to the House for consideration. People are still adapting to Ocean City's new restrictions for beach coverings. It bans tents and prohibits beachgoers from setting up a canopy and then walking away from it before 10 a.m. It also bans any canopies that are larger than 10 feet by 10 feet. Beach patrols say they had more than 700 interactions with people violating these new rules this past week. For now, the town says it's focusing on educating beachgoers on the new rules rather than handing out fines. Proposed NASA budget cuts from the Trump administration have employees uncertain ground. At a NASA town hall this week, leadership apparently discussed options for agency employees to leave voluntarily to minimize involuntary layoffs. A current Wallops employee and former employee have reported at least 24 workers have taken the offer so far. Accomack County Supervisor Jeff Parks sits on the Wallops Research Park Leadership Council. He says he is hopeful that private contractors will fill the gap.
I hope that those are people, if they're taking these buyouts, they're not just losing a job, they're taking a buyout to move on. And the real growth for us with Wallops, and my role as the chairman of the Wallops Research Park Leadership Council, is facilitating private industry and other organizations coming in. I mean, I would hope, and we do see opportunities coming down the road where maybe some of those people can come over and join some of our private partners.
Senator Tim Kaine of Virginia says he believes the Trump administration's effort to slash the federal workforce is, quote, ridiculous. Kaine says he's committed to doing everything he can in the U.S. Senate to protect civil service at NASA Wallops. Today kicks off the 4th of July holiday period, and it will be a busy one for people who are traveling. AAA says a record-setting 72.2 million Americans are expected to travel at least 50 miles from home over the holiday period. It runs through next Sunday, July 6th. AAA predicts nearly 62 million Americans will be hitting the road, which will be a new record. While the price of gas has gone up, they're still at the lowest levels since 2021, and nearly 6 million Americans are projected to fly the friendly skies, which will also be a new record.
Can't rule out a spotty thunderstorm here over the next few hours, but the muggy weather will be sticking around through the evening. 82, falling only in the mid-70s. We have more storm chances to talk about in the 7-day forecast, and that's coming up.
Today was the funeral for Minnesota lawmaker Melissa Hortman and her husband. The accused killer appeared in court yesterday. And the FBI issuing a warning that a hacker group is targeting U.S. airlines. We have these stories next.
This is CoastTV News at 6.
More than 1,000 mourners attended the funeral for former Minnesota House Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband today. You may remember they were shot and killed 2 weeks ago at their home by a man posing as a police officer. Minnesota's chief federal prosecutor has called the attack an assassination. Former President Joe Biden and former Vice President Kamala Harris were in attendance at today's funeral in Minneapolis.
Melissa Hortman will be remembered as the most consequential speaker in Minnesota history. I get to remember as a close friend, a mentor, and the most talented legislator I ever known.
The man accused of killing the Hortmans, Vance Bolter, made a brief court appearance on Friday. Authorities say he is on suicide watch at the Sherburne County Jail. The FBI is warning that a cyber criminal group is now targeting U.S. airlines. In a statement Friday, the FBI said the network called Scattered Spider was behind the airline attacks. The FBI says once the group is inside a victim's network, they proceed to steal sensitive data and will often deploy ransomware. The agency is warning that everyone inside the airline system, including vendors and contractors, could be at risk. While the hacking has not affected airline safety, the FBI says it's working with aviation partners to address the activity.
Well, we're going to keep the unsettled theme in play for the next 3 days and really ramp up those rain chances Tuesday afternoon, and then we settle in to a nice dry weather pattern heading into the 4th of July. We'll track the storms and more heat coming up when CoastTV News at 6 continues. Well, we ended our heat wave at 9 days yesterday, and we were right back up in the 90s today. A gorgeous day, but a humid one at that. 88 currently in Cambridge, taking the sailboat out. Water's nice and calm. Winds are pretty calm as well. Could see an isolated storm here over the next few hours. I think most of the area stays rain-free. The other good news is if you've been in the ocean today, we have those ocean temperatures up in the lower to mid-70s, and they're going to stay that way tomorrow. We have a moderate risk of rip currents into our Sunday. The sea breeze kicking in 75, Rehoboth 79, Lewis 77, Bethany Beach. Away from the coast, though, it's 88 in Georgetown, 90 in Seaford, and 89 in Bridgeville. Still feeling like 101 in Seaford. We'll have more triple-digit heat indices come tomorrow, and you could see sweltering heat and humidity for most of the week, and then we went down to 71 yesterday, and we were up to 91 today after a morning low of 71. 97, the record set back in 1959. So we're watching potentially some isolated storms kind of popping up here over the next few hours, all thanks to the sea breeze. Severe thunderstorms west of 95. The thinking is as this progresses eastward, these storms are going to kind of weaken. Cold front to the north, that's going to settle into our south overnight. Now, the Storm Prediction Center has that marginal risk for all of the eastern shore and pretty much everywhere except for the coast. Watching for that threat here over the next few hours. Not completely sold on it, but damaging wind threat is the primary threat. You can see over the next few hours some storms, some downpours pushing into the eastern shore, but kind of weakening as they push into the heart of the peninsula. Can't rule out a spotty downpour overnight, but most of us stay just muggy with patchy fog, partly cloudy, 74 degrees, and we're right back up into the lower 90s tomorrow. 90 Rehoboth, 91 in Georgetown. See a high of 91 in Cambridge, 91 in Salisbury. So highs generally 86 to around 92. Feeling like 101 in Millsboro tomorrow afternoon. Feeling like 101 in Selbyville. And then we'll see those pop-up thunderstorms. Now, the Storm Prediction Center tomorrow, we're kind of on the eastern fringe of this threat. Could see a damaging wind threat primarily across the eastern shore. So we'll continue to monitor that tomorrow, but you see a few of those isolated storms begin to fire off after about 3 o'clock tomorrow through about 7, and then we'll see another warm and muggy night before another shot of rain comes in Monday afternoon. Some more scattered showers and downpours developing, and you can see the rain chances really ramp up Monday into Tuesday. Tuesday is really the primary concern as a strong cold front pushes through. We could be dealing with a round of some strong to severe storms, so we keep the shower and storm threat really in play. Chickadee to Assateague over the next 3 days with temperatures in the mid-80s through Ocean City, touching 90 in Fenwick Island by Tuesday, and then we are right around the lower 90s through Lewis, and then mid to upper 80s in the Rehoboth Beach with those afternoon showers and storms. So once we get past the storm threat Tuesday, we dry out pretty nicely. In fact, humidity is actually going to drop a bit Wednesday into Thursday, and looking really nice for the 4th of July, Brandon, with temperatures right around 90 degrees.
Thank you, Chris. Still to come on Coast TV News at 6, how much money Nike expects tariffs to impact their bottom line. But first, President Trump ending trade talks with Canada. We have that next. A major shift in trade relations. President Donald Trump says he's done negotiating with Canada and will soon announce new tariffs on America's closest trading partner. Trump says it's because of Canada's new digital tax service, which is set to take effect on Monday. Friday, Trump called it, quote, direct and blatant attack on the U.S. Canada exports billions of dollars in goods to the U.S., and the higher tariffs could spark retaliation and raise costs for both countries. Canadian officials have not yet responded to this. Nike predicts President Trump's tariffs are going to cost the company $1 billion. Nike CFO says Nike will mitigate the cost by reducing its supply chain reliance on China and by passing the cost on to customers with higher prices. The company is cutting imports from footwear of China to the U.S. from about 16% to around 10% by the end of next year, with the supply coming from other countries. Coming up, over 100 planes being inspected because of severe weather last night in Atlanta. Severe weather that hit the Atlanta area last night is causing problems for Delta Airlines. The airline must inspect more than 100 planes before they can fly again after storms brought quarter-inch hail to the region. The affected planes were on the ground during the storm, and a Delta employee said its maintenance teams are quickly working through the backlog. The bad weather led to major delays in and out of Atlanta's airport, which is the busiest airport in the world. Delta's headquarters are currently in Atlanta. Here's another safety warning to be aware of. If you drive a BMW, a mechanical glitch prompting the recall of more than 70,000 BMWs. The government says the electric drive motor software in these cars could shut down, resulting in a loss of drive power. The recalls include certain i4, i5, i7, and iX models. We now take a live look outside into a sunny Salisbury, and after the break here on Coast TV News at 6, we have a final check on your forecast. Each Friday you can share with a weekly dose of local good news from Coast TV. It's full of features, cool things to do each weekend, and more. You can sign up now for our Feel Good Friday newsletter at coasttv.com/signup.
Well, we're certainly feeling good about this hot weather back on Delmarva. A hot and humid day gives way to a warm evening, 89. Salisbury can't rule out an isolated storm over the next few hours with temperatures falling into the mid-70s tonight. Tomorrow we are looking at temperatures right back up, upper 80s to lower 90s with that threat of an afternoon thunderstorm developing. Get your forecast anytime by dialing the First Alert Weather phone. Your forecast is just a call away. Now we keep the thunderstorm threat, scattered threat Monday afternoon, and then a stronger threat on Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday evening. We're dealing with a cold front, could produce some strong to severe storms, and then we turn really nice Wednesday through Saturday, 4th of July, looking really nice, right around 90 degrees. Humidity dropping a bit too. That is one thing to note. And then we stay pretty dry through the holiday weekend with temperatures right around the low 90s.
Thank you, Chris. Looking good for the 4th. That's good to see. Thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News at 6. For more news and local weather, download our Coast TV News app. Be sure to join us tonight at 11. Until then, have a great night.